All right. Welcome back to the Ahsoka review. I guess I messed that up. What are we doing today, Canadian?
We're just doing, just hanging out, not doing anything specific. Maybe we're reviewing Ahsoka. Maybe we're not. I don't know.
Review Ahsoka. So what we're going to do is you will notice it'll be very obvious when the spoiler comes. I'm going to use the same spoiler alert that I did last time.
I mean, it was pretty good.
Kind of go quick overview of what we thought. No spoilers whatsoever. Keep the spoilers down. Basically, we're just going to say whether we liked it or not. Then there will be a very obvious spoiler notification. And then from that point forward, you have been warned. All right. So overall, what do you think about this episode?
Good. I liked it. Not really much to go into. It's a very it's the shortest episode so far. It's almost like a bridging episode between the two episode opener and what's to come next. And if you watch the trailers, you kind of have an idea what might happen the next episode. So it's just kind of just some fun action, giving some explanations to stuff that people were wondering, and reintroducing some characters here.
I actually asked Voodoo Lily. She was supposed to join us, but she claimed she doesn't remember saying that. But she was 2 sheets to the wind, as they say, inebriated, had some grandpa's cough medicine, also known as too many margaritas. Because I wanted her perspective, because she has watched Rebels, but she didn't finish.
That's even funnier.
I'm going to put this on here. I got to put this on here. For everybody on YouTube, if you ever get on Twitch, if you like Twitch, please follow Voodoo Lily. And then this one right here, also keeper of the lore. But anyways, because she has watched Rebels, but she didn't finish the last episode. So I was kind of wondering,
that's such a weird
perspective. Would you be able to follow this? And I still think it's hard.
Okay? Oh, it definitely is.
I think it was hard to get all the nuances. And I do feel like when I've been watching people talk about it on YouTube, I think those are people who also didn't watch Rebels because it wasn't popular. And so they're complaining about a lot of random stuff that if they watch Rebels, I don't think they would be complaining about. Here's what I say. I like the episode. I think I would be shocked if Daddy Lucas wasn't on the shoulder of someone whispering into his ear, because this felt like Lucas had a lot to do with this. And it's because it's who it is. It's his boy. This is the biggest fan of Lucas that ever existed, Filoni, doing Filoni things, trying to bring cartoon and adapting it straight to live action. So yeah, I think it's a great episode. I think this is a better one. I think this is the more Star Wars-esque episode. So I think this is the one
more fantasy.
Yeah, you got planes, you got spaceships shooting at each other.
Yeah, space battle
kind of stuff. Chopper's always on point. Not on point this episode. Chopper's always on point. Although to be honest, like I said, the last review, Chopper is definitely a war criminal.
He's on gunpoint. He's at gunpoint because he's a war criminal.
Yeah, I have no idea why he hasn't been decommissioned, but we're here for it because he's amazing.
They're too afraid. Their vengeance he could have.
Like, it's bad, actually. All right, so let's get into it. Here's your spoiler alert. That's 15 seconds of spoiler alert, so you cannot.
So funny.
You got spoiled.
So, how do we want to kick this off?
Do what?
How do you want to kick the spoiler talk off?
You could just start reviewing the show, or if you want to talk about the spoilers, however you want to start off with it. I got a few things ready to go. What did we start?
How about you lead off, and I'm obviously going to interject at the points I'm super excited about.
All right, so I guess the first part would just be talking about Miss Ren training and Ahsoka's apparently floating dojo. I thought that was pretty cool. We can lower the table and raise the table up depending on what training was. I did find it odd that basically there's that one clip of Ahsoka she opens up a door and she has like all lightsabers and training stuff. Obviously, I think some of that's coming from the droid there, but
And that
she's
ship was one of the it's a Jedi shuttle ship, so that it would make sense to have had some artifact, depending where she got it from. I can't remember how she acquired it again.
But for somebody who is no Jedi, she's sure keeping the faith alive, single handedly almost. Just saying, like she's out there doing her thing.
I really liked how Hu Yang, when Ren was fighting him, how he had those little projections, and it was and you can gauge out how many strikes it was, how the strikes moved were.
Oh, it's funny you say that.
Oh, I see what you mean now about getting knocked off.
Gotta be very careful. Gotta be very careful. And that's not the bad one either. So that would just show, I thought that was an amazing scene. I thought that was a very clever way to show how important maybe the droid will be. Because anybody who complains, oh, Luke was only trained for like half of a minute and this person's trained. And you're going to see that basically in her floating dojo, that either she can train or the droid can train when she's not. And obviously the droid doesn't get tired or sleepy. So, yeah. So I think that was a very clever way to kind of
oil bath every so often, maybe though.
The only issue I have, and I know the YouTubes had a lot more issues than I did. The only issue I had about it is I don't understand why Kanan Jarrus' name has not been said one freaking time in 3 episodes. His son is running around. Everybody who knows him, they're like, oh, Ezra. What about the other guy? You know,
I think they're saving that. I think they're saving that moment. They're just trying to trigger you. They're trying
to trigger me. Because here's my problem. Here's the part where I literally yelled at the TV, and I don't yell often anymore. A long time ago, I did a lot of yelling because she was acting like, take my eyes away. That's not possible. What kind of Jedi games are you playing, honey? You were trained by a blind man. When you first picked up a lightsaber, well, Ezra trained you first. But the guy who did your heavy lifting at the beginning was a blind guy. So it was so weird to me that she acted like this is the most foreign thing that she's ever heard in her entire life is to not be able to see when she was literally running around for years and was trained by a blind man who used the Force.
It's so funny, yeah.
She didn't say like, hey, I don't have the Force. So like, how can I do this? She didn't say that. She was like, oh, how can I possibly do this? I was like, well, you witnessed it happening, like by a guy who trained you.
Youngling training. But I mean, interesting how her training works there, using the put on the little blaster shield, and Ahsoka just messing with her.
Like, sorry to cut you off, but when you say this, I want to remember this. When I was looking for the scenes and stuff, and I was like trying to find all these scenes, I didn't realize. Now, listen, I love them. Okay, they got a bunch of the producers' kids and who knows who to do that scenes, but I didn't realize how slow the younglings were when they were practicing their little blindfold test. They were like this. That is how slow they move in the movie. I was like, wait a minute. Like, what?
Don't forget the one who keeps aiming at his chest backwards, like aiming at to kill himself.
It's impressive. You're blocking those shot blind, but man, are you guys slow? Like, I didn't realize how slow they were. But anyway, sorry. So that was my only issue with the training thing. I thought it was well done. I thought it was really cool when Ahsoka was kind of moving around because I have headphones on when I watch it. So I watch it at work instead of work. And so I thought it was cool when she was kind of like, do you see where I am? Are you sure I'm there? And she was moving around. I thought that was really cool. It gave pretty cool training vibes. Obviously, we're doing some pretty heavily samurai ninja training kind of thing going on. We're heavily from a world far, far, far away.
Yeah. Now, you mentioned someone's name before Kanan. Now, I think we should talk about that. That surprised me.
What?
So, obviously, we get the scene with Hera meeting the council, or some senators, and the now Chancellor Mon Mothma.
Whoa. Are you not going to talk about the biggest controversy of that training episode scene? Where everyone's freaking out because they don't understand why they're treating her as if she has the Force, and people are freaking out that she doesn't have the Force. Why are they training her as if she does?
Oh, okay. Anyways, well, I guess that part. 1 second. Basically, well, I guess for that, anyways, yeah, everyone has the Force. Depends to a minute amount or to obviously the amount of a Jedi. It depends on their adeptitude with the Force. It all flows through every living being and everything.
Yes.
So depends how in touch you are with it. You can harness it more, right? From moving a broom to moving a Star Destroyer, right? Or fixing a dice game against a alien to steal his slave.
I would say this. No disrespect to anyone, obviously, because literally 99.9% of all Star Wars channels are bigger than mine. But I will say this. I was telling you this earlier. It's coming down to the point now where I was watching some of these videos and just watching how fast the like anger, all this, everything's terrible. Ahsoka's not terrible, not 100% terrible. Like you can't find one thing. So I'm starting to realize now that there's a business in being super, super awesome at saying that everything Star Wars does is amazing and it's awesome and everything's ever bad. And there's a business for saying it's horrible and no matter what, it's bad. Okay. And both are doing this right now. So that's the problem that I kind of have with that. I will say this: Kenobi is famous for being crap in the Force. Like they say he is not strong in the Force. He does not have a good bug count in his blood. He doesn't have all that, and yet he became the greatest Jedi to ever live. That's facts. That's not an opinion. Everyone knows that is the facts. He is the greatest Jedi to ever live. Why? Because of sheer determination, training. He wanted it more. He did everything he was told, and that tells you that. Now, that being said, do I want her to start floating rocks above her head while Yoda sits on her back? No, I don't. But I'm just saying it's kind of weird that they say that. And here's the video that's gonna get me in trouble. I know it is. I'm gonna get in trouble. You can't demonetize me, baby, because I'm not monetized anywhere. But I just put together the fact this isn't a new thing. Filoni knows. If anybody knows, it's freaking Filoni what Daddy Lucas wants. Okay, so here's what I did.
Force resides in all living things, but you have to be open to it. Sabine is blocked. Her mind is conflicted. She's so expressive and yet so tightly wound. She's so
Mandalorian. Everyone has the Force in them. Everyone. Everyone has the Force in them. Everyone. Everyone has the Force in them. Everyone.
There you go. There's my little remix of them actually talking about the person who we're talking about.
Yeah.
In Rebels, and then Daddy Lucas. Are you going to argue with Daddy Lucas, who says everyone has the Force in them? Everyone.
Very nice.
Everyone. So that argument's over with. Like no matter where you take on it, everyone has the Force in them. The little boy in the movies that should not be named, sweeping by himself, had the Force in him. Like everyone has it. Even when you were 3 years old or whatever, you're 5 and you're trying to move your damn like orange juice cup like she was trying to do, which I thought was hilarious because every kid probably tried to do that at one point. Like, we all have it. So I just wanted to say that. Yeah. Okay, so we're back to the meeting, which I thought the meeting was an annoyance I'm having with the current Disney thing, but at the same time, I actually really liked it.
I also thought it made sense in terms of like, so realistically, so you had that meeting, so which is fun. Hera shows up. There's Chancellor Mon Mothma, and we see there's Chancellor, which is really cool to see, in the robes and everything.
Yeah.
With some other senators, and then asking, "Oh, where's Jay?" When she asks, "Where's Jason? How's Jason doing?" And Hera's like, "Oh, he's just running around the ship somewhere, like causing mess with Chopper." And all in the back of my head was, "Oh, you sneaky bastards! That's a good way of sidelining it. Going, he's here, but we're not going to show him." And then, obviously, we'll talk about it in a minute. Subvert that. But I like the meeting between.
My concern when I heard Chopper is his main babysitter. Can we just talk about that? That's a bad
yeah. I mean, they're setting him up, man. War criminal too. So, anyways, yeah, I really enjoyed that scene and like Hera talking to them and like how Mon Mothma realistically understands her and wants to go with it, but now because of the whole bureaucracy kicking in, she has to kind of play by all those rules. And that one guy being the pestering guy is like, "Oh, you know, these real threats going on. We're not in a war anymore." And in a way, his line of logic makes sense. Where it's like, "Oh, we silently toppled over this government with a coup. Basically, we took a rebellion and took over the government. We now reinstated democracy. Now, are we going to slowly, just quickly give the generals and the army more and more power?" But obviously, for the best if they did that. But
I mean, we did a deep dive on Mon Mothma. If you want to know how she believes, right there on the channel. She obviously doesn't like it either. She wanted to get rid of the military almost immediately. Which I think is weird because she's amazing. By the way, just shout out to her. They're always making her. It's like lighting or something. Even when she's a hologram, they make her look freaking so regal. Like she looks like she's like it should be like. Oh,
she's always ready for a painting of her just standing over
like
top.
She's always like so freaking regal every time she's there. But so the issue that I have with it is like Mon Mothma's not a moron. No one's a moron, okay? And the fact that they're being morons bothers me. Like the New Republic is so buffoons, where they're like, so we had a whole planet that was still loyal to the Empire. Well, that's probably just an outlier. We're going to totally ignore that and go on down the road. And then even here, they're like, oh, so there's other people in the Empire? Probably not. Like it's so silly. Like I know they're like they're for lack of a better word, they're hippie-ish, right? They want everyone to love each other and be happy again. So they don't really want to start crap. And they don't really want to start dragging people in front of tribunals or whatever. But at the end of the day, you have to be realistic. Like the people lost a lot, lost power, lost money, and they wouldn't mind seeing that come back. And you can't just pretend like it's not happening. So
yeah.
Now, the other thing I was going to mention too that people were talking about was the acting. And I saw a lot of people say it just seems like Ahsoka, Hera are like really good cosplayers who are pretending. I think that's a lot to do with live action. I just think they're very colorful stuff. So it's a live action type thing. But I will say this. I agreed. I remember last review we said Ahsoka was probably the weak point for me, just her acting. But also she's went through a lot, so I could see why she'd be stoic.
There's also something that comes up later on during the space fight that kind of got my attention for a second, how she reacted. And it kind of, it led me to the one idea you brought up at one point in the last episode. So,
but I will say at this point, probably the best line showed Hera's personality, what I know her.
I loved it.
And it is when the guy was giving her a bunch of crap and she finally said, well, did you fight in the war? Which is a classic military thing to do, right? When all else fails, you just question, did you pick up a rifle, sir? Like it's classic. My stepdad did it all the time. Until you pick up a rifle, you have no idea. But it was such an amazing line because he said no. So she's like, so you just sat there and waited out to see which side won.
And then just dead silence the whole time. Just didn't speak a word.
Right then she lost. I think she knew it. Right then she ain't getting funded because she just did that. Like, and he's obviously powerful. Because she had to do it. But then that's her to me. That's like more. I need more of that personality. Or like, screw it. Yeah, it didn't work out. I blew it. Anyway, go find out what you can find out and hit me back up because I got to go back in here and fight some more.
It was the same thing like the last episode when they were at the plant and she's like, basically like, oh, I give you clearance. So I am a general. There's nothing above me. I'm giving you the clearance. I love that. That's like perfect.
Yeah, that was a perfect line because it's so realistic. Because like I said, if you ever met, especially an old crusty military guy, they'll say that same thing. You know nothing until you fought and died for it. Canada, you guys are a little different, but yeah.
So now onto the surprise. As soon as the meeting was over and she went in the hallway, Mom runs out. Jason Syndulla. I flew. I was not expecting him after that. I thought they were trying to hide the fact he was there. And he comes out. He's got the green hair still. He is there.
Listen,
and it's
what
interesting.
What do you think about the way he looks?
He looks fine. I mean, he looks a lot better than he did in the cartoon. The cartoon, he looked horrid.
He was okay. Here's my thing. The only thing that I would ask them to change slightly, they don't give a crap what I have to say, by the way. I understand that.
Well, more green hue to his skin?
A hue or his hair to me shouldn't look like somebody who took green Kool-Aid and dyed their hair when their mom wasn't watching. Like he is half alien. He needs to look like he's half alien, not just some kid who has green hair. Like
it's funny because the thing is, it's weird with him because he has the long hair right now. Because the easy identifier is his ears, because the ears are very much like green, like half green, and but his hair covers his ears. So
something like that, just because.
Maybe he is. That's why Chopper's with him. That's why Chopper's with him.
And that's the only thing. My only thing is he's half alien, and I like aliens, obviously. I think that's one of the things I like about Star Wars. I need him to look half alien, not just some kid. Like right now, would you think that's his mom? You'd be like, did you adopt this kid? Is he a war orphan? Like, who is this kid to you? I did see that he says, "Oh, I heard that she was going to become a Jedi. Who told you that, Chopper?" And of course, Chopper's like, "Blah, blah, 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 blah." And then she goes, "I want to be one." And she's like, "Yeah, I know you do." And she looked at him with that look. And it's like, I just kind of wondered in that moment, what does that mean? Like, is she thinking about feeling sorry about his dad not being around? Or is she thinking, nah, I lost too much of them Jedis. You're going to stay right here and learn the way.
Well, yeah, I wonder the same thing too. If, well, who knows? Where would he have gone the train if he did? You know? Oh no.
She pulls that mom thing. That's too bad. They don't really make those schools anymore. Sorry.
Yeah, the boarding schools are closed. Since that. Since.
And then the other thing, and it's not just this show, it would be Rebels too. No one's asking. Like, Jedi is still pretty rare. I know they're not hunted anymore because this is over with now. But no one's saying, "Hey, where'd you come up on that kid? Like, do you think what's going on?" Like, Luke has never came by. He might still come by and say, hey, I got a feeling about that kid.
Hey, I need recruits. I need some child soldiers here. I'm running low. They took my frog from me, so now I'm stuck. With
my frog from me. And
now I'm stuck with
that. Is a Jedi doesn't mean that he's sensitive. You know what I mean? Doesn't mean that he's talented in the Force.
You know what's gonna happen? Luke's gonna show up. He's like, "Oh, perfect, a new candidate." And then Ahsoka's gonna show up. He's like, "You're not taking this one from me too. You're not doing it."
But yeah. So let's see if I have anything else on that part of it. Yeah, just like the New Republic being always bad is weird. And I will say this: the other thing that I got from it, I don't know if you've ever read the Bloodline book.
That one with Leia. Yeah, Leia. Yeah.
Leia's like combative nature is the whole last part when I feel like they're either going to vote yes or no. So I'm just going to tell them how I feel about it because they're kind of, questioning my thoughts here when I'm the damn general you're supposed to be trusting.
Yeah.
That whole line is later on in that book, which is a great book if you ever read it, it's Bloodline. It's while Leia basically abandons the New Republic and starts her own thing because of this kind of stuff that's going on. They're like, you're crazy. There's no new order out there. You're whipping up old stuff. And it's kind of the same feelings. Like I totally got Leia vibes whenever she was fighting with them about that.
Yeah. Now I guess you go on to the action. There's not much else in this episode or in those moments. It just becomes the interesting part where they make their way to the which they confirm hyperdrive ring, and they mention Hu Yang mentions that it seems it's large enough, and because of the power that it has with the Super Star Destroyer hyperdrives, that it can make the jump extremely fast and at a far distance, which makes sense to why they're using it to go the other way. And also, looking at the hyperdrive ring is humongous, and given those the Super Star Destroyer hyperdrives, Jesus, that's a mouthful, look pretty small compared to the whole ring. It looks like it's meant to fit a Star Destroyer. Presumably, the Chimera Thrawn ship will fit in the hyperdrive ring and come with it. That's what they'll probably do with it. That's at least why it seems to me as well. So.
And on that, I wouldn't mind them doing something like maybe they did, and I just didn't catch it. But I think because people don't realize how big those hyperdrives really are.
Oh, it's massive.
Yeah, I don't know if people are even catching on how actually big that ring is. Because whenever he was talking about it, which I also thought was a great moment, a little comedic. I think I'm loving the droid being in there because you get a little comedic.
Oh, Hu Yang's great. He's definitely a super underrated character.
And when she's like, "Hey, whoa, why are you dropping us off so far back?" He was like, "Oh, standard Jedi protocol, whatever." And she's like, "Why are you always doing that still?" And she was like, "It's his programming. He's not going to be able to stop being a Jedi protocol."
He's doing that for 2,000 years, man.
But like, you got that sense when he was coming around and go, "There's something huge on the other side of this." You totally got the vibes, and I know it was on purpose, of in New Hope when they're like, "That's no
moon.
Where's that big moon? That's no moon." Like, you totally got those kind of vibes. And I thought that maybe there should have been like I don't know, a moon next to it or a ship or something just to let you see how actually big.
Well, the planet's right there. Or no, it is a moon. It actually is a moon that place is. It's not a planet. Yeah. So it is technically showing you it's pretty big comparatively. But I was gonna say, then we get the action scene of them fighting the ship. The only
thing about the fighting of the ship is if Ahsoka, I love it. You got to have a Star Wars moment though. But Ahsoka's ship is that strong. I don't know why you would have any other ships. Like they should just make a battalion of those because apparently her ship is
It's a relic, right?
Oh, it just takes all the damage. But I wanted to point something out really quick about that. See what you think. Okay, so
I like their before you bring that. I like the other ships. I love the design of those little
that's
fighters.
what I was going to go to it. So the bad guy in it. What's the bad guy's name? I can't remember his name now.
So which one?
The main bad guy, the master of
Morgan.
Okay, so he was around. He escaped Order 66. He was a Jedi.
Who are you talking about?
The guy.
Balin?
Yeah.
Okay, Balin's the master.
Yeah.
Beard. Morgan was the Night Sister. Yeah.
Okay, so he escaped Order 66. So he's probably around the Clone Wars, that means. And when he escaped, he probably escaped with the clothes on his back and the stuff. Here's what I'm thinking. I don't think I'm thinking. I think that's what it is, but this is what I just noticed.
Well, because they have the Jedi shuttle ship from like the classics.
They had the Jedi shuttle ship. Those ships themselves look like they were older and kind of used what was needed. Like they didn't have a lot of access to money. So like that could be clone era technology too. She was even using the metal
the one that the pilots use,
Kenobi was using. And so it's almost like he took what he had, the clone era technology, with him wherever he went, and they're still using it. And so I thought that was just a really neat thing they're showing, is that they're using clone era technology because whenever he went in hiding, that's what they had. So they're still using it.
Yeah, he never upgraded, didn't have the money, didn't have the resources. Nor did he care, probably. He liked what he had.
Here's the other thing I was wondering. They're flying through the space, they're training, right? Hera just sold, you're not getting the funds, which I assume is gas money, because why else would you say that? Gas money to go. So who's paying for Ahsoka? Like, how is she getting food and gas and everything else? Because is she doing bounty hunting on the side? Like, what is she doing?
100%. She invested some good 401ks while she was off to the side, right?
She's selling Jedi artifacts on the side. That's why she has them all in there.
Or she had she was funding some stuff and was like, I'm expecting interest on these these loans.
I wonder if it's Hera that's funding her, and the money keeps coming up like this. I wonder if that's also going to be an issue. Is she got to cut off Ahsoka? Because that's probably where money's coming from. I'm sure Hera's probably.
Or before she left Luke, she's probably like. She's probably like, my consulting fee, please, and then so I want to bring something up here with the obviously the ship battle.
Oh, please do.
Before we talk about the other aspect, so we have Marrow in the ship, and we hear him talk, and it's obviously a guy.
Mm-hmm.
We now hear there's definitely a man's voice, and now we get to the idea of who this character is supposed to be. Because now there's basically three lines of thought right now. Because one, it's just entirely new character.
One is freaking stupid. If you're even going to bring that one up, that's the dumbest theory I've ever heard in my life. No,
it's not. So here, I'll tell you there too. Right. So one, obviously, is a new character entirely. Huh?
You're like freezing up or something.
It's kind of off sync right now.
I don't know if you caught up again. Say something.
I think I'm better now, I think.
Okay, yep, you're good. Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
Should be pulled off YouTube here. So the three current obviously thoughts. Obviously, he could be just a new character entirely, and we might not even see their face or reveal.
That's what I hope for, by the way. That's my hope.
Which probably be the best idea. Two, the running fan theory, obviously, it's Galen Merrick. Merrick. Now, the thing is with that, obviously, it's just fans freaking out excited. The only other credence to that is Sam Witwer is playing the character under the costume. He's in the credits as that character. Which he could just be playing him for the... No, he's there in the credits.
He's not.
He's there.
No, he's not. He's not. You need to look that up. He is under all the voice actors. There's like 5 voice actors. He's there. The guy who's actually the stunt double is actually accredited as that guy. It's not Sam Witwer. It's the stunt double that's credited as him. It says, I actually paused it. It says, in introducing whatever that stunt double's name is as Merrick.
Okay.
So, but his name is in the credits. Sam Witwer's name is in the
credits. That's one thing. Now, the only way like that, it wouldn't be the same character everyone wants. It's just going to be it would just be literally a fun nod. It wouldn't be actually the same character. Just be, he's a fun tease.
He hasn't like destroyed an entire planet or ripped 20 people in
basically.
half.
Now, the other theory that I heard, and I think this is a pretty interesting and the Ezra one I'm going to discard because it is impossible.
Please don't even mention that one.
Impossible. The one I think is pretty interesting is, especially as the reveal would be that it would be Cal Kestis. And the evidence to that is that he's also very lanky. How he moves, you look how he's moving. It's lanky like he is. But
if
the reveal is we don't
spoil into the video game. I haven't got there yet.
He murders every. They have not confirmed the third game yet. I won't spoil anything what he does near the end of the second game, but there's kind of ideas of something interesting going on. But they never confirmed the third game, and we also have no idea what his character is happening to his character, right? Because where is this guy at? This guy's he's becoming a thing. Like, where the hell is he going to be, right? So if they reveal it, oh my god, as a shock, he's this guy. What happened to him? And after the reveal of him being this character, they would go on to announce the next game, Fallen Jedi or Dark Jedi or something, right? And they would announce the next game and show you how he got to this place. Like, that would be an interesting connection over. And he's also, if you had to pick anyone else that's out there, he's the only one that realistically could fit. And obviously, Cameron Monaghan says he would love to play. I'm trying to
figure out why I hate that idea, but I can't figure out why I would hate it.
It's the only, if you had to pick something, if you had to pick an established character for it to be, that's the only one that actually works and pays off. Because Galen Merrick Starkiller.
They can't use him. He's too overpowered. He's like common.
Well, the thing is, you could have him there. It would be cool, but it would not be the same character. It would just be a fun nod. It would just be like an Easter egg to fans. But that's it. It wouldn't be the same character.
Because that is interesting, having both of Darth Vader's apprentices fighting each other, right? Like, that is interesting. But man, Cal Kestis, I didn't even consider that.
Yeah.
That's not bad. I mean, I'd rather just be a new character, honestly.
That's the thing. I would prefer the new character too, but that if it had to be anything, that was a theory I thought that was really interesting.
Use that voice, you know what I would assume it would be was Ahsoka's
Barriss?
Yes.
That could work, but it wouldn't work here anymore. It doesn't make sense anymore.
But that's who I would have assumed it was. If
that would have been the best idea, but no, it wouldn't have worked. So
I still think it works.
Hey,
a lot of things have to be broken for it to work, but it can still work.
Nevertheless, anyways,
but
we got that cool fight in space now, and so the thing I was mentioning earlier about Ahsoka, the stoicism, when she's inside the ship and they finally start communicating, she's like, "Okay, I need to start relaxing," and starts communicating with Sabine, and she gets excited, and you hear in her voice a little more fun and liveliness. That's why you kind of see our traditional Ahsoka coming out. Obviously, she's been alone with Hu Yang for so long. This is what I'm holding out for at some point. Yeah. The Barriss would be amazing. I would love that. That was always my favorite idea when they announced the Ahsoka show.
That's still my holdout. I'm hoping that's who it is because I might break my TV screen because I might throw my Coke or something at the TV screen if it is. The only thing that I didn't like about the fight scene, honestly, I mean the plane scenes, the starfighters, was like that old trope where we have 2 stars and 4 nobodies.
Yeah, and you have the other grunts. You go, I know who's dying.
One by one, the nobodies are getting killed. Like I was hoping they were going to there's wing one of them, and so they have to I thought you could have shot the helmet, whoever that ends up being, right? I figured you could have shot him where he has to go land, and so it's only her by herself, and it would have made a little bit more sense because now you have.
That'd be interesting,
yeah. But no, it was just random, and this is the last 2. The Ahsoka on the wing thing. When I saw that, I said, "Oh my gosh, YouTube is gonna have a field day with this." They seem to be more upset about everyone has force powers than that. Here's what I liked about it. Did it break every single known natural law the world ever had? Yes, but who knows? Star Wars might not follow that. They're in a land far away in a galaxy way, way, way long time ago. Maybe they don't have the same rules that we do. Maybe Einstein never invented anything, so they don't have the same rules we do. Was it silly that we kicked her leg out that she would have been flying off the ship? Of course it was. But here's what I did like about it. There was no Mary Poppins bullshit. And you know what I'm talking about. When she was done, she was in space. She said, "You got to come get me," because she's just sitting there like, you got to come over here and get me.
I'm stuck. Please spin the ship.
yeah, she started flying across space. She was like sitting there saying, "You got to come and get me because I'm just floating out here." Oh yeah, I'll come get you. That part I did like. I liked that part, and I think that was done on purpose, to be honest with you, because we know there's a little combativeness going on between the two sides, and I did like that. I don't know how people, maybe Voodoo Lily here can tell us what she thought about it. I don't know how people who only watch the movies and maybe the TV shows, what they thought. Was it cringy? Was it corny that she went up on the ship and started shooting blaster bolts back? And the other thing, before I'll let you go, the other thing that I thought about was Reva, whatever her name was, from Kenobi, right?
Yeah, when she was on the just the ground blocking the whole.
When she was there blocking, and I said I didn't like it because that's supposed to be taking down starships, and she's doing it without any kind of effort whatsoever. If you've never made that scene to show that somebody who isn't necessarily extremely gifted with the Force is able to do it, we never saw that. Erase that from your brain. And you have Ahsoka, who I don't even know if we understand how powerful she really is, because she does little things here and there to show you. And she was able to do that. That would have been like, I don't know how Dragon Ball Z works. I never watched it, but when they go like, 9,000 power or whatever, I think that would have been a really cool scene. But since we already saw it, it ends up being not that good of a scene to me.
Yeah, it's a weird one. Yeah, so I was going to say, that's what I was going to bring up myself. It's pretty much straight out of the Clone Wars that we have. Yeah, Plo Koon doing it, Keanu, everyone doing it, and then even my favorite, the 2003. I had to bring it up. You know I do. The 2003 Sassatin and his troops prepare to board, and they just jump out of their ship and land on the other one and go.
So ridiculous.
I loved it. Perfect. Anyways, yeah, it's been done all the time. It's just, to my opinion, it looked weird. It looked weird for us because seeing it in live action versus animated,
it is.
The animated's a lot faster. And live action, it's obviously more realistic how slow it is. It just looks goofy. But
did you notice that like she actually had like the suit covered?
Yes, they had to go around
like connected down here. That was freaking hilarious. Like I was like,
well, think about it. Imagine how much that would hurt, because she's using that to hear, right?
Yeah. Like I thought that was interesting that they did they had everything covered at that point.
Mm-hmm. But I think that's it for that. And then obviously comes down to the planet. And that's basically it. Because it ends off with Baylan. Whoa. What do you mean, whoa?
She come on the planet ends. You're not going to talk about the giant sperm whales flying around that they were.
Oh, yeah, the Purgle. Yeah.
Yes. Here's my thing. I don't think it's an accident. I don't know what they're going to do with them. Maybe they're going to put that big ass collar on one of them whales and fly that bitch around. I don't know what they're going to do. But I don't think it's an accident that they're clearly hanging out on that planet, and that's also where they happen to be basing this on.
Well, maybe that the hyperspace ring gets used and they get sent off, and then Ahsoka, and then we're like, we can't make it, and they use the Purgle to get to the location instead.
That's a very Clone Wars thing to do.
Very Clone Wars. I mean, very Rebels. Rebels.
So yeah, I was gonna say they were flying in and out of them. I couldn't tell if they were like, it seemed like they were lifting just at the right time, or was that just good flying? I couldn't really figure it out, like if they were helping or not. Maybe that's what they wanted it to be, because
their Force wills it.
Yeah, their little their little stuff would fly up. And then what I want to talk about that is just how pretty that scene was. The whales is fine, but when they were going down to all those red trees or whatever, I felt like I was watching some kind of like old samurai movie or something. I was like, oh, that's a really cool visual when them going down in those trees.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure how they got away with it, to be honest with you. I'm not sure how.
Well, they turned off the tech, and they were just kind of.
Yeah, things are still warm. You know what I mean? Like they just came out of space, and they have the ability to go, there's something warmer out there. We should go check that out. But it's fine. It's gonna make for good scenes. So they went over there. I was gonna say yeah, and then the other thing I was gonna talk about was while they're in the ship before they went down, the droid fella talks about how the Jedi have known about other galaxies being there, and they know about the Purgulus, and they know about all that. They've always known about it, and I think that was interesting. And it brings up a rumor that I read somewhere, and I'm sure it's just a rumor, but you know where that rumor is going with old Mr. Filoni. Is that he's going to shift and move everyone to a different galaxy for a while to get away from the shenanigans going on with this galaxy. So like his part of Star Wars is going to go over there where there's all that extra force users and all that, so you don't have to deal with the bottleneck that comes from the movies that are coming up really fast, and you're going to have to end his characters and all that stuff. The only reason why I say there's a 0.5% chance that happening is because Filoni absolutely loves his creations, obviously. And I think he's going to have to realize that at some point you're going to have to put a final bow on them because they don't show up in the movies. You're going to have to do something with some of these characters.
But, you know.
So I thought that was interesting. And the last scene is you see old Beard, as Voodoo Lily has called him. We'll call him the Beard. And God, every time I see this freaking guy, like his family probably says, screw you for being so cold-blooded. But damn it, Star Wars needs that guy. And I feel so terrible that he died because, God, he's good at this. Just standing there, he looks like
the presence and the ominous.
Yes, just him standing there. But he tells him to go after him, and there is like a extreme hesitation I feel like he has with Ahsoka. Now, do you think we're gonna find out later that he has a personal connection with her some kind of way?
Well, he says he's
just because there's not a lot of Jedis left? Because it seems like
he does say Anakin spoke highly of his apprentice. Yeah. So he must have been around in the temple at points or however where to hear Anakin's rumoring or talking about Ahsoka. Obviously, he never saw her because he would have probably not recognized her at first. But if anything, it's interesting. I wonder if we'll get obviously the whole rumor of the flashback stuff with Ahsoka, Anakin, because obviously Hayden Christensen's in this and he has lines that are new. I wonder if we'll get a flashback with him, with Baylan, either at the end of the what happened, why he at the end of the Clone Wars, what happened, or how he met Shin, or of the stuff that he's mentioning. I wonder if we will get a flashback with him, or if you know
what I was thinking is that maybe he was really close with Plo Koon, because I know Filoni has in the past.
Plo Koon's the only other one he's only found Ahsoka.
Yeah, he's one that found her, and I know that David Filoni in the past said that's one of his favorite ones. Yeah. So I wonder if they did missions together or they were close, so he spoke over a lot. Anakin spoke over a lot. Clearly, she was probably famous because her and Anakin were running around destroying planets.
The rambunctious, rebellious
Jedi
in the temple.
And also she was framed, obviously, why she left, and she left.
Yeah, that's a pretty famous thing to bring up, that she was framed for bombing the temple.
Yes. And then she left the order, similar to he says he's no longer a Jedi either. So they have a lot in common. So I wonder, maybe it's just he's thinking we're kind of people who have similar views on the Jedis, and now I'm going to have to get rid of her. But I just wonder. I wonder why he's so hesitant about that. Because it just shows you that he's not a Sith. He's not trying to out there murder people.
No, he's not out. He's not outright. Obviously, he talks about when Shin asks him what will happen when they get thrown. He's like, power you will never believe. Obviously, that's something he's looking for. Yeah. To what end does he want this power? Why does he want it? What is he trying to get out of it? We don't know yet, but
maybe
obviously he's not trying to get it at any means possible. He's not actively trying to kill people to get that power or hunt people down or torture them. He has not done anything or even come off that way yet. As you know, we talked about in the first episode. He didn't actively kill anyone on the Rebellion or on the New Republic ship. He tried walking past them and just doing it by himself, but they kind of forced his hand.
Like I was gonna say, maybe he's just his goal is get enough power, get enough prestige or whatever, where he can rebuild the Jedi Order in his own image. Possibly, I'm not sure.
That's an interesting idea. Yeah.
If that might be what his goal is, because he did train. I'm gonna still go with daughter, even though I have no idea. I'm gonna still go with daughter.
Surrogate, at least.
Yeah, at least. Yeah, they're very close, at least, which isn't that far off. But yeah, I really like this episode. I'm still conflicted because I don't know how normies are going to be. Because basically, from what I've seen, just from people commenting, there's no wrong way to be a Star Wars fan. Obviously, everyone should get to be a Star Wars fan. They should be like my kind of Star Wars fan because I'm clearly correct about Star Wars 100%. But you have the random ones who know that Star Wars exists, but they're not really into it. Then you have the ones that have only watched the movies. And then you have the ones that have watched movies and a few cartoons. And then you have
people who read
us who consume everything possible, and it's hard.
Who
when I
read
see-
Max Rebo comics? Who read? You dive deep when you read Max Rebo comics. Going, wow, I'm a really big fan.
And it's hard for me sometimes not to comment because there's some people who clearly have only watched the movies, and that's fine. That's probably what it's originally intended to be, the movies, right? And they just were able to cash in on everything else. But they have like very harsh for that I either agree or disagree with them based on the movie. And I just want to, but I'm not going to pick a fight on social media, obviously. But I want to be like, it's because you've only watched the movies. You have no idea what you're talking about.
Well, I had an old guy, actually really funny, I had an old guy at work who watches so much movies and everything. He says to me, old Italian guy, he's like, so this, what's this new Star Wars series coming out? Ahsoka. And I'm like, oh yeah, it's do you remember that character? Because he watched The Mandalorian. I'm like, do you remember the Jedi character, from that who was with like you see Grogu's name? He's like, yeah, her. And I'm like, that's her, Ahsoka. And he goes, who is she then? And I'm like, well, she was Anakin's apprentice for during the Clone Wars and all this and that. He goes, wait, she wasn't in the movies though. And I go, oh fuck. Exactly. I'm thinking about this, and I've already watched the first episode. I'm like, oh god, that's not going to be the questions you're going to want to ask. Is who's Ahsoka? When Hera shows up, Sabine shows up, all of these people. And none of this is it's all gonna go.
And I'll be at work, and somebody will see the Star Wars because, of course, I have stuff at work at Star Wars. Like I have, stuff that people see, or people just DM me on Instagram or something, ask me a question. And I'll tell them, well, that's because it was in the Clone Wars. And, I've even had people ask me, what episode was it in? I'll go look it for them. And I will tell them that it's hard because the Clone Wars it's a lot of episodes. It takes a long time to watch it. You have to really want to watch it, especially now.
A lot of episodes.
And then I started thinking about that when somebody was asking me a question about Ahsoka. If you literally only watch the movies, which again is what I think is intended to do, only watch the movies because everything else was kind of a cash grab and just extra. Then do you even know who Ahsoka is or why it's important?
If you don't watch the movies and you've only watched actually, funny enough, think about it. Going back to the episode she was a Mandalorian. Yeah, there's not really any direct mention of her,
she's just some random cool
history. Just as Jedi, and it's like, cool, there's a Jedi here. And then, I don't even remember. I have to go back. I'm gonna go back and look at this now for the next episode review. Does she even state that Anakin was her master in her first appearance? Not season 2 when she's with Luke. The first time she shows up, not Book of Boba Fett, but season 2 of Mandalorian when she first shows up and it says Grogu's name and all that. Does she mention that Anakin's her master at all?
I don't think
so. I think she does with Book of Boba Fett. She's like, Luke, you're just like your father. But even then, I don't think she says that's her master. It was just mentions Anakin.
That Luke would know. I'm sure it came up at one point. Like, what was my dad like? Oh, he was the
greatest starfighter pilot of them all.
Listen, he was Anakin.
He killed many kids.
But anyway, that is a review of Ahsoka. I think it's getting better, but like I said, I'm just concerned because Disney's having a lot of issues right now. Stocks are dropping. People are talking about canceling this and that. I even heard rumors the other day that they might even sell the parks off because of all the issues they're having. And I just wonder if they have another really bad rating situation with Ahsoka because it's too inside baseball, insider. Yeah. How is that going to be overall for the Disney Plus and the Star Wars era?
I'm just wondering if they sell off that stuff. Can I get some shares? Can I get some shares and stocks in that?
Yes, exactly. This is exactly what I was trying to say. Of course, leave it up to Voodoo to do it better. Evil Cad Bane, one of my favorite characters. He's like top 5 character for me. He was just a weird looking dude and a weird looking cowboy get up.
He was a gunslinger.
You have no idea how dangerous he was when he was standing there. You have no idea that he's one of the most dangerous not human beings, one of the most dangerous creatures in all of Star Wars. You have no idea that that's who that is.
We didn't even know he had jetpack boots. We did not know. We did not see them active. He could be flying around the whole time, playing Boba in the sky.
Lily. Let's get Voodoo Lily's opinion. I'm not gonna make you write a whole paragraph, but out of a 10. What did you give episode 3? I know she had some questions at episode 1. She was sending me some messages. She had some questions.
This one's pretty straightforward episode, though. So not a lot to really question. Probably why is there a little green hair boy chasing a big green alien around? That's probably it. But I don't know. For myself, I think I might give this myself a like that. Casey, the same answer. I'd say about an 8. Nothing really to say bad about the episode. Just again, we talked about some.
But what I'm
weird
saying is, if we're 8 out of 10, okay, because even she watched a lot of Rebels. What is the normie like, or even
this episode probably that. This episode probably that. The first episode probably like a 5, 6.
Yeah,
and the after one probably about the same, maybe like 6.
By the way, what was the
runtime
on this episode? Because you told me they were going to be an hour long. You were like, yeah, they're going to be an hour long. I feel like
I said they better be an hour long. When this comes out 30 minutes, I'm going to cry. So if it goes 20, you know what happens. You know we ain't making episode 5 review.
Is this right?
I don't think
is
I'm
this right here? Is this the runtime?
Well, that's the total runtime with the intro, with the credits, with all that.
And you were like, they better not get to 30 minutes. And they were 30 minutes on the 3rd episode.
Well, we're gonna see the 4th episode because this next one, this one's the interim episode, right? If this next episode's 20 minutes, it's over. We're not doing review 5 because I'm not gonna be around for that.
You gotta be around for that. Good Lord. All right.
Now,
I think that's it. I think that is the review. Tell us what you think about it in the comment section. If you like the review or not like the review. I mean, I guess you could say you liked our review. That's nothing to do with it. I mean, if you liked Ahsoka, let me know if you like the review and don't say no, because haha. Oh, okay. So it looks mixed. Okay. There are a couple people give it 2 out of 5s. Yeah, I would say, yeah. That I think, to me, I don't think it's fair because I don't agree with that score, but at the same time, I completely understand it if you're
outsider looking in.
A fandom, yeah. What level of fandom are you? Like, I totally get it if you're doing that.